need mine. All right, so the very first question that it asks, it says, ¿Cuántas sillas necesitas? So that's the very first one on our papel. ¿Cuántas sillas necesitas? The first thing I want to point out is I put the accent mark accidentally on the U instead of the A. So it should be on the A. Make sure that you go ahead and scratch those out and put it on the A, okay? So that's the first thing I want to point out, my mistake. I'm a humble teacher. I'm showing you my mistakes. Okay, humilde, by the way, is how you say humble, humilde. Okay, so now that you've done that, let's look at how cuánto, the word cuánto, I'll go ahead and write that over here, can be written like that. Or if whatever you're talking about ends in an A, like if you just were talking about silla instead of sillas, you would say cuánta. Well, you wouldn't say that because it's how many, okay? Cuánta would be more like cuánta cuesta. How much does it cost? All right? So what I want to point out is that how much, the word cuántos or cuánta or cuántas, all is dependent on what you're talking about. So since you're talking about sillas, and sillas is feminine and plural, then cuántas has to be feminine and plural, okay? Now the next question, número dos, so this is pregunta número uno, this is pregunta número dos, we're talking about libros. How many libros? So libros, is it masculina or masculino or femenina? Masculine or feminine? Masculine, okay? And is it singular or plural?
Plural.
Plural, okay? Plural. So that means this also has to be masculine and plural. Okay? They've got to agree, is the whole point. So whenever you see those on the questions, all throughout our page that we're doing, whenever you see the, oh, they're all going to agree. The next one, cuántas mesas, cuántas mapas, okay? That kind of thing. They're going to agree. Now, I made another error. Mapas shouldn't be cuántas. Why not? I just now caught this, by the way. Is mapa masculino or femenina? It looks like it's going to be feminine, but remember, it's actually el mapa.
Yeah, because the A is...
Yes, it's a trickster. It's a tricky one. Remember when I was writing that on the board and I was like, okay, you need to like underline the A or circle the L, something to remind you, and here I forgot, okay? So, silly me, that should be cuántos mapas. So you can change that too.
To an L?
Yep, cuántos mapas. Yes, I'm getting all kinds of humble today. All right, so that's okay. The next thing I want to talk about is this part, the verb, el verbo, okay? When we have a verb that ends in AS, you know automatically, without the to being there, you know automatically that you're talking about who? Who are you talking about?
It's a we, right? You.
To, you, okay? To, you. And I know you guys just learned this, like,
Yeah.
last week. Just started Spanish, I get it. That's fine. Okay, so the AS is reflecting that to. It's telling you. So I didn't write out that to on there because you don't have to. You don't have to say what the subject is because the AS tells you what the subject is. All right? So the necesitas, because it ends in AS, it tells you it's going to be to. So what does this mean? ¿Cuántas sillas necesitas? Antonio?
Yeah, to like say what it means.
Yep, in English.
Okay, would it be I? Do you want us to like transfer?
Just translate it.
Like-
You were about to respond correctly to the question, but how would you translate ¿Cuántas sillas necesitas? Like, ¿cuántas means what?
How many?
How many? What does sillas mean?
Seats.
Seats or chairs.
How many seats do you need?
How many seats do you need? Okay? Because remember, our activity is, just to recap, because we haven't talked about this since ayer, since yesterday. You guys are un profesor or una profesora nuevo or nueva. If you're a girl, you're gonna be una profesora nueva in una clase de español. So you guys are Spanish teachers now. I know you're excited about that. And you are putting together your clase with los materiales escolares. So what you're gonna need to figure out is cuántos días necesitas. So you would answer that then the way you were heading, right? So let's go ahead and answer that. How would you say I need?
Yo. And then
Yo necesito.
necesito.
Yo necesito.
Then.
However many you decide. Okay? And
I don't know how to say that.
Then.
well, you guys haven't learned numeros, but let me go ahead. 21 is how many students you have. You have 21 students, 21. So I'm thinking you're probably going to want Sia for yourself. Anybody want to sit down at some point?
Yeah.
You know, as you're teaching? Okay, yeah. You're probably going to want a couple extras, adicional. Okay, so let's go ahead and say 27. Does that sound like a good amount? Okay, and there are a couple different ways to write that. I'll write the way that's a little easier when people are just starting. So you could do 27. Okay,
You're
20
gonna erase.
and 7.
You're gonna erase what we had.
No, no. You get to decide however many. This is just as a class we're saying this, and then you've got to put what you're talking about. CS. Okay. Okay. So the next one then, I asked you, ¿cuántos libros necesitan los estudiantes? So what am I asking, Carolina?
How many books do the students need?
That's right. How many books do the students need? Okay? Now, before I answer that, what I want to do is show you something. Whenever you have a verb, and we conjugate it, you know, we do our verb chart. Necesitar means what?
To need.
To need, okay? And so you've got our verb chart. We've got the singulars over here, the plurals over here. Okay, you say, yo necesito. What's the to form?
Tu necesitas.
Good. Tu necesitas. Muy bien. And then what's the el, ella, usted form?
Tu necesitas.
Mhm. Good. Necesita, just like that. Okay, and then over here on the plural, how do you say we need?
Necesitamos.
Okay, necesitamos, but what do you put before it?
We.
Uh-huh. And then in Spanish, how do you say we? Nosotros. Muy bien. Nosotros necesitamos, and then the one that looks just like nosotros with the V. Vosotros.
I don't know how to say it.
Necesitáis. Good. I think that verbos rapidos game helped you guys. Okay, and then down here, ellos, what's the ellos, ellas, ustedes form?
Isn't it
It's
like,
wait.
is it R?
It's an.
An at the end. Necesita. Okay, what I want to show you. Necesita. So necesita. It's the ustedes form. That's what we call it, ustedes form. Okay, anytime you have like a plural thing that you're talking about, like say you're talking about the seats need. The seats need to be covered, okay? Or the tables need, or the professors need, or the children need. Any of those, you're gonna use this form, necesita, okay? Now what if I just have one table? Or I just have one professor? What would I use?
Necesita.
That's I. Do you have another guess?
Necesita.
Muy bien. You'd use necesita, okay? The usted form, because it's singular,
Oh, yeah.
okay? Now, so that's talking about if you have el libro necesita, the book needs a new cover, okay? Right? What if I was talking about a person? What if I wanted to say Juan needs? Javier, what would I say for that? Juan needs. Which form? Can you help him out, Antonio?
Would it be would it be they as in elves?
It's just one person. So, Cecilia, any ideas?
Oh, I know.
You know?
Is it?
Necesita. Yep. Okay, so Juan necesita.
Yeah, because I just seen the elf, like, yeah.
Good. So what if you're talking about Maria? Maria needs. What's that going to be?
Yes.
Okay, you could say she, but what if you want to say Maria needs? Maria necesita. Okay, so same thing. Maria necesita. What if I want to say the boy needs?
Elves.
That would be they. El muchacho necesita. El muchacho necesita. Okay? So what you're seeing here is that necesita is going to be used, that usted form is going to be used a lot. Does that make sense? And it's not just necesitar, it's with any verb. You're going to use the usted form a lot and the ustedes form a lot, because those ones are the ones that whenever you're talking about a person or people, then that's what you're going to use. Now, the only time you use the yo form is when you're talking about yourself. The only time you use the tu form is when you're talking about you, okay? Same thing here. The only time you use the nosotros form is when you're talking about we. Vosotros, when you're talking about you guys. But this one and this one, you use all the time, okay? Muchas veces. Lots of times. Okay, any preguntas about that?
No.
See,
The thing about it is it's kind of hard because you got like he and she, but they also named they, so that's why I said the
yes.
optional and everything.
Oh, and I understand, but it's just like we do in English. Sometimes we say he needs, other times you say Juan needs, other times, you know, it's like, oh, Juan and Pablo need, other times it's they need instead of specifying who they are. So the same thing in Spanish. Yasmin?
The one like and Usted, I don't know how to say the last
Mhm.
one. They all have the same ending. So how would you know like what to put at the beginning when you have three of the same things?
Okay, so it just depends on what you're wanting to say. If you're wanting to say he needs, you're going to use el. If you're wanting to say she needs, ella. If you're wanting to say you, formal, need en usted.
Okay.
So whatever you're actually saying, that's going to determine what you put at the beginning.
Okay.
Okay? All right. Buenas preguntas. Good questions. All right. So let's go ahead and answer this one. We'll give ourselves some room. So how would you answer ¿Cuántos libros necesitan los estudiantes? How would you answer that? What are you going to start the sentence with?
Would it be yo? Because I need.
Well, instead of I need, you're wanting to say the students need.
Okay, so
they.
You could say they, which
But
would
you don't know
be
exactly.
ellos.
Yeah,
Mhm. Or, even better, to specify the students, right?
yeah.
So, los estudiantes, and then your verb is the exact same. Okay? You just transfer it down here. Necesita. Okay? Los estudiantes necesitan. So make sure that that's what you have on your papel. For número dos, los estudiantes necesitan, and then let's give them, okay, we gave them 27 sillas, let's give them 26 libros, okay? 26 libros. So that way we have a couple left over in case someone needs to take one home to do their tarea. Okay, so anytime you have the question asking, you know, what does someone need, then you say that someone needs this. When the question says, what do you need, you respond with, I need this.